Welcome back, viewers. It's that favourite time of the show when we're on Viv's mailbag, and it's brought to us by Beth Alston, seeing Viv's away on maternity leave.
That's right. Thanks for having me, Tony.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, definitely. I love reading people's questions. We've had a lot of people log on to our website this week, thepishow.com, and leaving us questions, which is really great.
But we want a lot more, don't we?
Well, definitely. Keep writing in. But we've got three really interesting ones that I wanted to bring to you guys today. The first one is from somebody who didn't leave their name. It's written, "Dear Harry and Tony, our next door neighbours often have parties that go into the early hours of the morning. A few times we have tried to call the police, but the police always show up 1 or 2 hours later, and by then the party is over. One night my dad got so annoyed at a party that he went next door and started yelling at the neighbours to shut up. He was punched in the head by one of the partygoers and now suffers constant headaches. We can probably sue the attacker, but can we sue the police?" It's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting, but I don't think you can sue the police. I don't think you can sue the police for the simple fact that a call's gone out to them. They've probably taken a bit longer than normal to react. They've got to make a priority about, do you come to their house? Well, they've probably got other things to do. There could be a situation where, it could be a shooting going on somewhere, emergency somewhere else. It's quite often the police always get there after the event. So I would have thought the case against the police is weak. The attacker, if you can identify the person, you could probably sue them. You don't need 5%, which is what you need in every other case, Harry. So, yeah, I think you've got a case against the next door neighbour or the party goer, the person that actually hit him in the head. And depending on how bad these headaches are, will determine what the compensation is. But in addition, you can sue for the medical treatment and other things, and it might be picked up by some sort of insurance. It could be picked up by a householder's insurance, Harry.
You'd hope that there'd be some insurance because with lawyers it's always easiest to deal with insurance companies, and then you're often paid, because you can sue someone, they can declare themselves bankrupt and there's no benefit to you ultimately because you can't collect any damages. So we're always, as lawyers, comforted if there's an insurance company on the other side looking after the defendant. And then in this case, I think there's no prospect against the police. There certainly is a strong case of what's called an intentional tort, that is assault and battery against the person who attacked him. Maybe even the convener of the party might be at fault as well. But,
and if all else fails, victims of crime, Harry.
And victims of crime as well, yep. That's the other remedy.
So you're suggesting that the father should go to perhaps some lawyers or go to the police? Or?
No, get independent legal advice and bring in all the medical material, and the lawyer would give him, some advice about prospects of success.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for that question. The next question is from Elise in Frankston. "Hi guys, listening to the news and from personal experience, I know that overcrowding on trains is a big issue. I've been in situations where I have pretty much been pushed over as people scramble to get on the trains. One time I almost fell through the space between the train and the platform. Metro says to not get on the train if it's too crowded, but it seems they leave us with no choice if they cancel a train in peak hour. If, God forbid, I or anyone else was to suffer a serious injury, is there a chance that Metro would be liable?" Well, what do you think about this, Harry?
Tough claim.
Tough claim? Why is that?
Well, because there's
a couple of elements.
There's a couple of elements. I mean, if you fell over between the train and the platform, I think the defence would be that Metro done nothing wrong. I mean, that's a known fact. And there's hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people over the course of a year get in and on and off trains, and if you slipped and fell from the platform onto a train track, prima facie the defence would be, well, it's your own fault. Now, if you're pushed by someone, overcrowding situation, it's still a tough claim.
But don't you think, Harry,
I think in time to come it might. I'd
it's
give
still a
something
tough
like that
claim.
a crack, I think.
Yeah, don't you think if there's enough gap in between the train and the platform, that's a lot of gap for somebody to fall through? Wouldn't that be their
But
responsibility?
I think the real problem here was the fact that it was crowded and people were pushing.
Oh, okay.
And so I actually witnessed this in Germany. A Chinese fellow fell into the gap between the train and the platform.
With a crowd
Yeah,
pushing.
You had to grab him out. But it was a real crunch, I can't tell you.
Yeah, and it's whether they've got a duty to stop overcrowding or not. It's a tough claim. I mean, the injuries.
It's
normally,
very topical, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something's got to give because I think it's a real problem. I refuse to travel on the trains these days, so I'm starting to drive a bit more.
well, that's peak hour trains, but off peak it's not too bad. But I think, look, it partly depends on the particular facts of what might have happened on a particular day and all the circumstances. And usually, obviously, I think injuries would be significant if there's a fall and impact, with a train. So
You'd have to
injuries would be
investigate, put it
significant.
that way. So
You have to get proper legal advice, and the facts are terribly important.
And just, I guess the answer to that is be careful when you're on the trains. We've got another question from one of our viewers. This is from James in Werribee. To the PI show, I have my gas fittings and gas heaters checked regularly to ensure that there are no faults. However, about 2 months ago, after one of these inspections, I realised the gas was escaping from one of my heaters. Luckily, I realised this quite quickly and turned off the gas in all of the house. However, if I had not been so lucky and there was an explosion or if I got sick, would I be able to sue the person who inspected the heater? Now, this is very topical at the moment because we had that horrible tragedy a few weeks ago with the two boys in Victoria.
The mother, yeah.
That's right. So in this circumstance and in that circumstance, could these people sue?
If there's a defective inspection and maintenance by a contractor, you probably can.
Provided there's no intervening factor like the owner of the house fiddling around with the gas fittings or something like that between the inspection and the incident, I think you're okay.
The cause of action is both in contract and tort, probably, but there's a contractual relationship. Someone's come in and you've paid money to service
and the onus is
a lot higher
gas
heater
too when you've got a contract area.
In contract. So you can probably sue in contract and in tort, and we think it's a viable claim.
Well, the short answer is I think you can claim.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that it's only been 2 months from the date of the inspection, your prospects are a lot higher. If it had been a year, who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so...
that's all we've got time for. You've got to remind people.
That's right, to keep on writing in questions. We love hearing your questions, and we'll have answers to them in the episodes to come. So thanks for tuning in.
Good luck to Vivian too
with her baby.
Yeah, the baby, and thanks to the viewers and Harry. And
thank you for watching, and we will be back next week with talking about the Accident Compensation Act changes in work cover in Victoria. But that's all we've got time for today. Thanks very much for Beth coming in. You've done a sterling job, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you.